Hi, and thank you for joining us today. We're going to be talking about Uranus retrograde and the cycle of Uranus retrograde in 2021. My name is Starlene. I'm a vibrational astrologer. I'm here with Linda, and she's also a vibrational astrologer. Welcome, Linda. I'm so excited to be doing this with you and talking about Uranus.
I'm really excited too, Starlene. Let's go for it.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So to start, why don't we give them a picture of what retrograde planets, Uranus retrograde looks like and what that means. When we hear that a lot about Uranus retrograde, and that would be a good way to start off. I guess I can start with that. Uranus, every planet goes retrograde except for the sun and the moon, but they're not actually planets. So every planet goes retrograde at some point or another in the year, and Mercury actually goes 3 times in a year, so we hear about that one a lot. But the outer planets, the further out in the solar system you go, the slower the retrograde phase is. So Uranus going retrograde will last months, and there is a whole cycle to it, and that's pretty much how what we're gonna like talk about in here, and what we're gonna unbox for everybody to understand the whole pattern of it. And if you get in sync with these patterns, I think it can help, aliven your life and help you to understand and use these energies, for a way that can help you a lot. What did you want to say about Uranus going retrograde, Linda?
Well, the planets don't really go retrograde in the sky, but they look like they do from here on Earth. So when we're looking up at the sky, it looks like Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, whichever one, Uranus, is moving backwards in the sky if you compare it against the stars. That's from our perspective here on Earth, the way the Earth is moving versus the way the planets and the sun are moving. It's the best analogy I can give you to this is, have you ever been sitting in a parking place and the car next to you starts to move out, and all of a sudden you feel like you're moving? You feel like you're moving in a backwards, like it's really disorienting, and you're not. That's a little bit like that movement of the other car is a little bit like what happens with the retrograde. So
yeah, that's a great analogy of it. I never thought of it from that perspective, but the energy, even though it doesn't move backwards, it's just from our earthly perspective, right. It appears that way, but the energy of the planet in a sense is not the typical of what it is when it's going in its direct moving perception from us, way. So it's interesting.
Well, part of it is that it is going back over someplace it was already at. So we're retracing an energy. We're redoing something. And we experience this on Earth as redoing something, of working maybe internally with it, so that we get revisions every year of things. We get a time forward, and then a time to revise, and then a time to move forward, and then a time to revise. And it's just a cycle.
Yeah. And that's a good point too. So last year, for instance, Uranus actually went retrograde on my Mars. So it affected me and my energy very much. So if you have a planet where it's going retrograde, and it's important to pay attention to those spots in the sky, like what degree it is, and we'll talk about that, and what degree your own planets are, so you can understand how it relates to you. But what we're talking about here is how it's relating to us as a collective, not just one individual. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it is, and it's interesting too, because you told me the other day, how many degrees was it that Uranus actually moved when it goes through the cycle every year? Was it 4 degrees, did you say?
It goes, about 4 degrees.
Yeah, so it moves so slowly compared to
and Neptune and Pluto move less degrees than that.
Right, the further out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the further out they go, the slower that they move, right? So very interesting. It's like almost like it's going through that phase of ironing things out. And I think we hear a lot about that when we talk about retrograde planets. So very cool. So when does, you want to talk about when the retrograde cycle we were talking about for 2021, when it starts to happen, share the dates with everybody, and we could get into what we could be expecting with those energies.
Okay, well, Uranus goes retrograde on August 19th. Yeah, it goes retrograde on August 19th at, here it is, at 9:40 p.m. on August 19th, August 19th. So the reason we're talking about it now is because when the planet's going retrograde, it's slowing down a whole lot. In fact, to our appearances, it's slowing down so much it stops and then it starts going the other direction. So wherever Uranus is at the time it's getting ready to turn retrograde, and right after that, it stays there a long time, a really long time. So it's the 14th degree of Taurus, and it is there from July 6th. We're talking about this now because it's about to go into the degree it's going to go retrograde in. So July 6th, it goes into that degree. It stays there until October 4th.
Wow, that's a long time.
Retrograde the 19th of August. It goes most of the way through the degree, turns around, and goes back over that same space again, going retrograde.
Wow. And as any planet starts to go in the retrograde motion, it doesn't, like Linda was talking about earlier, it does appear to be moving slower. So as you can think about it, it's like it slows and then it stops, although like we said, it doesn't actually stop. But from our earthly perspective, it stops and then it just goes in the other direction. So that slow.
The Earth lines up with it. It's getting lined up and then it goes back. So it has to do with the Earth movement versus the planet movement and the relation of the two of them.
Yeah.
And how that makes it look like it's going backwards.
Right. And that period around that apex where it actually changes directions is so slow. It's moving so slowly. So it's like even drawn out further, than just a regular motion through one spot. So
right. And this is a very long time to be in the degree of retrograde. For it to go from July 6th to October 4th. The reason it's so long is Uranus goes almost all the way through the degree before it turns retrograde. It's like 4/5 of the way through the degree before it turns retrograde and starts going backwards. So, and it's going so slow. So between the two, it takes a long time. So we're going to be seeing this energy of 14 of Taurus. And for those of you that know enough about astrology to look at a chart, if you've got something in 14 of any sign, you're going to feel this for the next few months.
Yeah, it will be something very strong. I totally agree with that. Yeah. So, as it's going through this space, I guess we could show the retrograde planet or the retrograde chart, the chart for this. Let me just pull it up here. This is the chart for Uranus retrograde. As you can see up here, hopefully you can see it August 19th, 2021 at 9:40:04 p.m. There we are. Yeah, so this is the natal chart is the chart, and we're going to get into vibrations and tell you about those. But this is the natal chart for this particular retrograde here. And so what, I guess what really makes sense is this strong trine here with Mars and Mercury making that trine to Uranus, which is very strong in the natal chart. So that would actually have a pretty powerful energy. Would you say, Linda, that when we have an event like this, let's call it an event, that this particular energy is going to be going through the entire event, or would it be through just that 14 degrees of Taurus, or would it be through the whole, would we be feeling that energy? Would it just be that day, or what do you think it would be, how that would kind of play out?
I think you're going to be feeling this energy between now and October 4th.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing it till it leaves that degree.
Yeah, that would be my guess. This is a Mercury and Mars are the two planets that are involved with Uranus here. And do you want to make any comments about that, Starlene?
Yeah, well, I mean, Mercury and Mars, I think it's just, Mercury is our energy, and Mars is our energy, and Mercury is about our communication. So we might say things off the cuff, and then it's connecting with Uranus. It might flow easily though, because this is a trine here, right? So it might flow a little easier than just like if it was Saturn, over
so
here.
You're going to say, so you're going to say unexpected things that are just going to slip out without you expecting them, and goodness knows what they'll be, because Uranus doesn't worry about conventions or expectations. It just pops out what it gets in its mind.
It definitely does. It just says it. It's like not afraid. It's not saying, oh, and 5 minutes or 5 minutes past this moment, you're going to be speaking. And it's, I would be mindful of that, because, we can say things and sometimes not want to say it and just retract that. So just be mindful of it, but enjoy it too. And don't be afraid to express yourself, because I think that a lot of inspiration can come from this. It doesn't necessarily mean it will. It's kind of where your head is geared at. And I think that's a lot of vibrational astrology. The vibration is there. It's up to us to work with it or not. And of course, your own chart does play into this, but in how you will be feeling with this. But I definitely think there is something there. There's a chance for you to express yourself in some way, and it may just come out unexpectedly. That's that Uranian energy in it.
The trick with Uranus is to be aware that you're prone to do stuff impulsively under this vibration. And your mind can help with a split-second check. Yes. Do I want to say this?
That filter. Sometimes it's hard.
You have to deliberately, consciously set up kind of like a watch guard. And this is... And you need to do that when you're taking actions too, because this is Mars and Uranus with Mercury. And what I would say to you is, for the next few months, be aware that there is a more than average possibility to have an accident. And for it to smoothly flow through. So if you make yourself, you can have some conscious control over this by saying, I'm going to be sure I double look both ways before I go someplace, before I pop out into the road real quick, and things like that. That extra double check, which is against, which you can do, your mind is capable of this, and you can have some influence on how the patterns operate by using your own mind.
Yeah, I love that too, because that's what astrology is about, is looking at what's going on and how you can utilize it to the best of your advantage. And knowing that this energy is like that and there's potential for it definitely gives you a chance to have that just split second filter. Okay. And yeah, that's great. So,
Okay, one more thing on that before we get off of
sure.
it. Plan some time, particularly between now and October 4th, when you can do things spontaneously. Give yourself a period of time, periodically. When you just get in the car and start driving and you don't know what you're going to do, and you've got a couple hours free and you're just going to do whatever you feel like. If you will do that, honor Uranus, it clears up some of the energy, and you don't need as much to go jump out in front of things some other time, because you've let yourself be spontaneous. Or take a piece of paper and whatever kind of colors you like and just do whatever you feel like with it. Any kind of totally unrestricted, spontaneous experience. That is honoring Uranus and helps to make things go better.
Yeah, I love that. And I always think about the idea of just writing emotions or something down and then just destroying the paper later just to get it out. If it's not something good, if just to get it out of you, or if it's something good, just like letting it go, or, instead of holding on to it. And I think that's very much a great time to do that, especially if you're feeling a little frustrated or something like that. You might just do, one of those practices to kind of just get it out of you, because that energy's there, whether we like it or not. It's up to us to utilize it in some way. So I love that. So let's move on to the vibrations that are, unless you had something else you wanted to talk about this chart.
Nope, that was it.
Okay, cool. So let's move on to the vibrations. I'm going to go to, should I go to 11 vibe first?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is 7. This is the 11th vibration chart of the Uranus retrograde, August 19th. So look at this chart. Oh my gosh. all these planets that are leading back to are across from the sun, but they're all conjunct, with each other. Well, Mercury and the moon are a little bit further up, but Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, Mercury's in there in a vibration chart we would use for a conjunction. We would use a 16-degree orb. So we have a little bit wider orbs in vibration charts than we do in the natal chart, but this is still very strong, and it's all opposite of the sun. So what would you want to say about this, Linda, unpacking this?
Yeah, the first thing I want to say is that a vibrational chart is really part of the natal chart.
Yes.
It is just a part that you can't see looking at the natal chart, because there are a lot more relationships between the planets in the chart than we can show in the natal chart. So this takes some of the other relationships that are actually there in the natal chart, and it shows them. And they have a particular theme in this case, which is 11. And 11 has to do with being dissatisfied and restless and seeking something different, hopefully something better than what you've known. Things just don't feel right, and somehow or other you feel like they need to change. And this is one of the energies that this is one of the strongest energies we have during this period between July 6th and October 4th.
Yeah, so, this is powerful.
It is really powerful. There's almost a compulsive action here. It's like you see the big picture of everything going on, and you feel like you've just got to act because things don't feel right. You're restless, you're dissatisfied. And remember, everybody's going to be feeling this way. Not just you, everybody is. This is a general experience the whole world is having between now and October 4th. So expect some unexpected things in the next few months.
Yeah, some unexpected surprises, and they can be, not kind of shocking, because with all these planets here, I mean, Pluto, Jupiter, Mars, this is this is kind of explosive energy that can be big, you know, and opposite of the sun, it's a, you know, a chance to, you know, open up, express it, you know, kind of in an explosive way. So the 11th vibration itself too, and to just go back to what Linda was talking about, vibration charts in general, is that 11th itself has a dissatisfaction, a restlessness energy to it anyway. And then when you put all these planets together like this in a restless chart, each one of the vibration charts have a different vibe to them. But when you put
when you've got Mars, Jupiter, and Pluto,
yeah, it's explosive. And I mean, the 11th vibe is like, and by the way, if you don't know, the vibration charts are also called harmonic charts and other, you know, systems of astrology. It's the same thing. We just use the word vibration because it kind of flows better for us. And so, you know, it's the 11th vibration is just it's tough to begin with. So this is going to be, you know, can be a frustrating kind of energy. And it was good that you pointed out too, it's not just one particular person or one sign. It's everybody's going to be feeling this way. What would you say would be a good way to channel this energy, Linda?
Do something impulsive and spontaneous. Look at
right.
what you're unhappy about, because this is even more volatile than maybe we're saying, because look at that Mars Uranus in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which just puts it on steroids. It's really there. The best way to handle this is by, first of all, recognizing it's there and that you're feeling it. And then figure out how to direct it. Don't try to just repress it. Try to use it constructively in a way that will be beneficial to you and to others. But that need to do impulsive things is big here. There's something in this chart that gives a hint as to what you can do to work with this. And that is Mercury and Saturn in quincunx. And when you have Mercury and Saturn, that's about analysis. And when you have a quincunx, that's about learning to do or remembering to do analysis. So what this is saying to you is, yes, there's some really important things to do in these next few months, but before you act, analyze it, figure out what you really want to accomplish, and then express and then direct your energy into what you really want to accomplish. Once you've done that analysis, then you can spontaneously act, and you'll have that action directed toward what you really want to accomplish. Because if you don't do the thinking about what you want to accomplish and how to most effectively do it, you know, run down the road instead of jumping off a cliff. Better idea. Okay, so if you don't do that analysis of how to effectively accomplish your actions, then when that moment hits when you've just got to do it, you might jump off the cliff. So you need to, that's the clue here. That's a special instruction in this chart, is think about what you're disturbed about, think what you're dissatisfied about, think what would make a difference with it on whatever level. It might be in your personal life. It might be with your husband or wife. It might be with a friend. It might be at work. And it may be that you're taking action on a civic level. But whatever level you're working on, think about it first and figure out what you really want to accomplish so you've got a better chance of getting there.
Right. I would think that there is a lot of energy towards accomplishing something. It just, you know, whatever you want to put your energy on is where you're going to flourish, and like we said, that that Saturn and Mercury in it, is that to me is, it's somewhat about that mental planning, that mental structure with ourselves, so that's that key, that this can help you work through this. But with all of these planets, with Mars, Jupiter, Pluto, and the Sun, all of that is just saying, like, you have this umph of energy behind you. It's just making it actually play out into your life. And how you can do that is thinking about what you would like to do with yourself. Don't let just the moment whisk you away. And I would say that during this whole time of this Uranus being in until October 4th, being in this degree, that, you don't want to allow yourself to just get whisked away. I mean, yes, it's okay to be spontaneous and fun, but like, really think about, is this spontaneous fun working towards my higher ideal of life? If this is working towards what I want, or if it's not, then, or if it's dangerous or it's something kind of risky, maybe it's better to take a step back and see what would, and then move forward with that. Because I do think that you have potential to move stuff here. There's a lot of power behind this. Yeah.
It makes sense to me.
A lot of power.
That's great, Starlene. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next vibration that is really strong in
not as strong. This was the strongest, but
the next one, right? The second vibration, the strongest.
No, the second. The 11 is the strongest. 7, the next one, is very strong, but not as strong as 11.
Okay, yeah. So the 7th vibration is the second strongest in this chart, this natal chart of Uranus retrograde. So this is the 7th harmonic of the Uranus retrograde of 2021. See the date here, and then it just says the 7th harmonic, 7th vibration chart. And as you can see, it's pretty strong. We have Jupiter on the opposite side now of Uranus, Sun, and Neptune. And then we also have this trine here with Mercury, and it's also conjunct Mars, although that's not really getting in the mix of this same conjunction here. So that is another thing. And then we also have, look at this one. This one is I love the quincunxes because they teach you something, but we'll get into that. So let's break it down. We can look at the Sun, Uranus, Neptune opposite of Jupiter. And, to me, that is having some form of inspiration, and this inspiration is unique to all of us, I think, because what is inspiring to you is maybe not to me. And I get turned on by astrology and like having these really nerdy astrology talks with Linda or whomever, and it's like awesome, and I'm so hyped, and it's like beautiful, and it's in a moment, and we start talking about amazing things and great stuff. So that may be totally boring to someone else, but the point in this is saying that whatever is inspiring you and whatever is like giving you that that fun, that blow it up, have fun, make it big. I think it's great that this is our first video we're doing together, Linda, and like, we're doing it on Uranus retrograde, and then we have all these amazing patterns. This is also, of course, the 7th harmonic. So the 7th harmonic has a different flavor than the 11th harmonic. Which I think is great. And maybe that's something you want to share with us about the 7th harmonic and how that kind of flows for us.
Well, the 7th harmonic is all inside of us. It's internal processes. It's the way that we take the things that we have around in the world and we go off by ourselves, and we put them all together inside, and we realize our own understanding of the patterns. It's like we create our own unique kind of pattern based on everything that we're experiencing. And this internal pattern, in this case, with Uranus, Neptune, and Jupiter, we're talking about getting off by yourself for a while and having these insights, feeling your awareness expand, and new concepts, because Mercury's involved with this there by trine and sextile. So that means that you're going to have ideas. You're going to, the Mercury and the Jupiter together help you to form a bigger picture out of all these things and see significance on levels maybe that you don't usually look at. But it's this is some exciting internal development that can happen during this period.
Yeah, I mean, I think that is so true. The seventh harmonic definitely gives you an opportunity to open up like on an internal level, which I think is really beautiful. And excuse me, looking at that with all of these planets, I think that expandedness is really where the focus is, because you're looking at also has these connects to Jupiter. It's like getting that internal openness within yourself. So I think that is something that is quite beautiful about this chart.
There's something else too. Because we have our quincunx for the seventh vibration, is Venus, Saturn. And this is kind of like what you're aiming for with all this internal work. The quincunx tells you, gives you a hint as to what's going on. And in this case, with Venus and Saturn, it's like, how can I look at all this stuff and see a way through to create a pattern of long-lasting beauty? How can something out of all of this chaos and mess that I see around me, how can I understand that, understand what's going on with it, and see my way through to bring beauty into the world through my actions? 11 tells me I'm going to take actions. So this is about what kind of actions I want to take to accomplish the things that are important.
Right, the internal part of it, which is obviously that's a really important part of it. So I think that is a great way to express it too, and how you're linking this moment of this retrograde together with all of these different harmonic charts. I think that's really beautiful, because it gives us an opportunity to look at it from some deeper, more meaningful space. You know, it's not just like, hey, we're out in the world being spontaneous, being a little crazy, whatever, with that 11th, you know, because that could be that. It also has this 7th vibe, which is giving us a chance to say, okay, there's something more in here. And the fact that we have the fact that we have these, you know, planets here with Uranus, Neptune, and the Sun in the middle, opposite of Jupiter, I think that's such a big deal, saying, you know, that there is a chance for that present moment to be really insightful if you go within, if you take that time. For me, that I like doing things like go out in nature, go for a walk, or go for a run, or, you know, something like that. So that might be a great way to express it. Yeah, and work with that energy. I love it.
Right.
And
go on, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I think that I think that Saturn and Venus, I love Saturn and Venus, but that is going to be the trick, the thing to work on, the thing to build upon within this chart. So,
and just remember that this is going to be most effective if you will take some time by yourself.
Yeah.
So
that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let us move on to the third strongest.
Yeah.
Yep, the third strongest is the 72nd harmonic chart, and this is the 72nd.
No, it's the 26th one.
Oh, it's the 26th?
Yeah.
Oh, I actually said it was pulled up the 72nd, so I'm going to have to pull up the 26th then.
Why don't you just bring it up in Sirius?
Yeah, I will do that.
It's 72 points. That's where you got the 72 from.
26, right?
Yes. It's, yes. 26 is what we want.
Mm-hmm. 1 second. Okay, and I should, oops, I'm sorry. I have to just.
You didn't say that.
Right here. There we go, the 26th. I think I have to reshare it. So I will pull it back up.
Well, while she's bringing up the 26, let me tell you a little bit about 26. 26 is about how every person is special and unique. Each one has their own deep source of awareness and gifts. And so this, in this context, this is about recognizing that I have special things about me that I can express, and every other person around has special things and special gifts that they can express. So that's the core of 26.
Right. I like the 26 vibe. I think that's awesome. And so here is our 26th vibe of the Uranus retrograde, and we have a lot going on here. It's the third strongest. So here we have Mars opposite of Pluto, Saturn. It's not connecting to Venus, but Venus is in there with Pluto and Saturn. And then we also have Sun, Jupiter making this sextile and trine to Mars and Venus, Saturn. So it's like, this is these are circuits of their own, because these three planets, so we have Jupiter, Sun, and we have Mars. So in vibrational astrology, we look at circuits. So three patterns or more, 3 planets or more in a pattern create a circuit. And so that has a vibration of itself. But being that it's all connected together and all making circuits with each other, it's a lot of energy put with these planets. And if you notice, there are a lot of the similar planets that we were talking about, except this time, Venus and Saturn, instead of quincunx, they're conjunct each other, which is how they're kind of unfolding for us in the 26th harmonic. And this is the special energy that it has with us. So, Linda, did you want to start Mars opposite Saturn, Pluto?
Okay,
I don't know which one you would
Mars
start with.
opposite Saturn, Pluto with Sun and Jupiter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is those green lines in there give cooperative ideas. The Mars makes it cooperative action. So with Jupiter, it's expansive cooperative action. And with Saturn, Pluto, we're going to base this on really important long-term consequences. So again, this is another part of the picture that we've been seeing in the other vibrations. Remember, this is all in the natal chart. This is just breakouts from the natal chart that concentrate and make things clearer. So we know we're going to take action. This says that it's going to work better if it's big actions where we're cooperating with other people. And that it's important for us to be working have long-term consequences that are really important, which is the analysis in 7 is about figuring out what the consequences are we want. And so this all just really, really fits together nicely.
Yeah. And the fact that it's the 26th vibration, and that being that need to do things special with special people, that connection to other people in that sense. I think that in recognizing that we're all special, I think this is really a beautiful pattern for us in this time, to give energy towards those things. And also on an internal level, I know that the seventh gave a very internal vibration for us, but this is also giving us a chance to expand out to others in this very special way. So, you know, thinking about what we've talked about from all of these harmonics, you can see that there's many different facets to just this Uranus retrograde. It's not just Uranus retrograde. Uranus is connecting with all these planets at this time, setting up a cycle for us to all be in and to work with. And you can see each thing kind of relates to itself and opens up another way, another door for us, so to speak, to work through this time period. It might be frustrating at times, and it might be where you're really connected at other times with this 26th harmonic. And it might be that, you know, there's times that you're more internal and you're needing to go out in nature and do your thing in nature. It's so you might notice that these are a running theme for you during these months while Uranus is in this 14th degree of Taurus. So and you know, especially if you have a planet that is in or about 14 degrees of any sign in your natal chart. So it will definitely be connecting with that. So I love what you said though about this vibration, because I do believe that it is giving us a chance to expand our cooperative action in some way. And I think that we really need that, and that will help us, you know, as a collective. I think we really need that, and it will help us kind of move forward with things. So I think that's a really beautiful way to put it, and a more hopeful idea than just thinking, oh crap, Uranus is going retrograde, you know, which is mainly what people say. You know, so I really like that. You put it in a very nice and beautiful way, Linda. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. One additional thing here, it's light. It's not as strong as the other quincunxes, but we do have a quincunx here to help us understand. And in this case, it's Mercury quincunx Neptune, and it's very light. So this just tells us that in this time period, we're getting closer to making our dreams and our visions for life be real. So this is kind of what's happening under here. So with the 26 here, we're talking about helping everybody's dreams and visions for life be more real and more achievable.
I love that. And as we work together as a collective of, you know, me and you and me and my neighbors or whatever, whoever I connect with, my family and you as well, you know, it goes for everybody. As we do that, we kind of pull ourselves up, you know, we spiral up instead of the negativity or the frustration and spiraling down, which is that kind of ladder I always talk about when I talk about energy, because I feel like we can choose one way or the other. So I think it's a really great opportunity for us to all help each other and help ourselves spiral up, you know, and I love that. So that was beautiful, Linda.
So, well, you know, I thought this was going to be a half an hour video, and we've got one more important thing to share with you, and we're already at 43 minutes. So
yeah,
you may want to break it up and listen to little pieces of it at a time or something.
Yeah. Well, okay, great. So let's jump into the next thing then. We're going to talk about the Sabian symbols, and Linda is the expert on Sabian symbols between us here. And the Sabian symbols we're going to talk about is the first one is 15 Taurus. So Linda, tell us about 15 Taurus.
Okay. The Sabian symbols are for each degree of the zodiac, and each one has a picture, and these are some elaborations on those pictures that I developed in the 1990s. So the first symbol is a man muffled up with a rakish silk hat. Isn't that a great image? Although it wouldn't be very comfortable in the summer. But this is about a person discovering that they have the awareness and skills to take care of themselves, that it's about protecting your sense of internal integrity based using the tools that you have available to you in your life. So this is basically, these are things, now this is happening, this is for the whole period from July 6th to October 4th. This issue of operating from your personal internal integrity is really an important, if you want to be resonating with these energies rather than having them fight against you. There is a warning here that not to pretend to be something you aren't. That sometimes we hide, we disguise ourselves, and we use our cultural heritage, and we act superficially based on what we think we're expected to act like. And this is about really operating out of your own sense of personal integrity. So that's super simple.
That authenticity is gorgeous. I love that. So that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. The other ones that we wanted to talk about, or did we want to talk about something else with that?
No,
okay. The other one we wanted to talk about was 13 of Scorpio. Right. So yeah, I'll let you go ahead and describe that for us. This is
going to click in closer to the time of the exact retrograde. You're going to start feeling this August 12th, and it will go approximately until August 26th. So in that time period, you're going to have an additional energy that kicks in here. The symbol for it is 13 of Scorpio, and the symbol is an inventor experimenting. And this is about experimenting with how you can express your unique gifts and awarenesses while moving beyond established structures, the expectations that you have around you. So this is moving out of those, which 11 really likes, and experimenting with new ways of expressing your unique gifts and awarenesses. And it's about, again, being real. Being sure that what you're doing is based on actual observations, considering the consequence of your actions, and not to take the risk of making things up or something like that. So this is the second option, and that's going to kick in, as I said, on August 12th.
And that's really beautiful too, because it makes me think of Taurus and, Scorpio are very authentic type energies to begin with. They just don't mind being themselves. I mean, archetypally speaking, but it makes sense. So, this is going to be a great pattern for us, that authenticity to open up with everything that we discussed already. I think that's great. And then the last one that we're going to talk about is 11 Aries.
And that's on the day that Uranus turns retrograde. It's only for that day. And what we have is maybe a little to the next morning, but that's it. This is about taking all the stuff you've been working on all this period and claiming your authority and recognizing that you have a responsibility to act in ways that benefit everyone. And that's did I tell you the picture? It's the president of the country.
Oh.
Yeah. So this is about basically that responsibility. The president is a symbol, and the president has the responsibility to act in ways that benefit everyone in the country.
Right. More collective stuff.
Mm-hmm. And we are each of us the president of our own lives.
Mm.
And we have the responsibility in our actions to act in the ways that benefit everyone also. The warning here is not to get caught up in, I've got something coming to me. Not to get caught up in a sense of privilege and power, not to try to build yourself above everybody else. Instead, build everybody up. That's the symbol.
I love that. That is awesome. Wow. So great. This has been so awesome, Linda. I thank you so much for being my partner in this. This has been great. I'm so excited about doing videos with you and sharing them with everybody and hearing everybody's feedback. So if you guys have feedback for us or would like to hear us talk about a certain subject, feel free to leave comments in the comment section below. You can also contact us on our websites, which the links will be below with them too. And I wanted to also give a shameless plug, because you write an amazing amount of work every single day and you offer it to everybody for free. So it's amazing that you do that, Linda. Like, I can't even imagine, like, that's so much work, but you do it so beautifully. So Linda puts out a, she calls it the Vibrational Astrology Diary, and it is an email. So if you would like to get her email, you can, of course, email her through her website. And I think it would be really awesome. It's just something free she does. It's for anybody that wants to read them, and it's beautiful. I read it almost every day, and it really helps them enlighten what's going on. And it's much like this report, but just in a writing sense. And it's about that day, not, a cycle like we're talking about.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's great. They can just email
why
you.
Don't you share your email and I'll share mine?
Yeah. So my email is super easy. It is my name, starlenebrighter@gmail.com. And you can contact me there, or you can go to my website, rockstarastrologer.com or starlenebrighter.com. Both of those are different websites, but you can find me on there, and which has my social media and stuff like that on it too. So, and your website, Linda?
It's www.astrosleuth.org. That's org, folks. Okay, ASTROSLEUTH. And if you go on there, you will see my blog where I put up the Vibrational Astrology Diary. And if you want it emailed to your email, you will see there where you can send me a message. You can, if you send me a note that you want me to send it to you each day in your email, then I'll add you to my list. And there we go.
Yeah, I love getting it in the morning, because you usually send it the night before to get it and just start my day reading it and know what's ahead of me, what energies I'm in it. Because, we're talking to people all day. It's nice to know what's going to, and everybody is dealing with the world. So it's nice to know what's going to happen.
Right.
So
and
wonderful.
It gives you Sabian symbols that are featured for that day, or sometimes 2 days in a row or something like that, if the planets are staying the same for a little while. But it does give you special symbols that can give you a sense of what kind of things you can do to help manage the energies around you and work with them.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know you work really hard on that. So thank you so much for all the work that you do. So yeah, this has been great, Linda.
It really has.
I think
we can do this again.
I think we will. If you guys made it this far, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Feel free to like and subscribe to our channel. Of course, we're going to be putting more videos out, so hit the bell too. And of course, get in touch with us if you'd like to. We both do consultations, and we're both super friendly and love talking about astrology. So we look forward to connecting with you again on our next video. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye there.